Good morning. There's all kinds of chaos this morning. Probably shouldn't even be live, but we'll see. We'll see how this goes. Good morning. And yeah, I've got animals freaking out. I got other things going on. I've got drivers calling me, texting me. Shannon texted me, is like, "Hey, are you going live?" I said, "Yeah, in a few." And then, like right before I pulled the trigger on it, she went live. I'm like, "What's going on?" It's all chaos. So, anyways, so I didn't mean to step on Shannon because I thought she was waiting for me to go live. Anyways, guys, thanks for coming in. Um, it's man, winter hit here in good old Springfield, Mo. There's snow on my yard ornament that's behind me there. There was snow on it, and it's a perfect 33 degrees. So cold enough to let it snow, but not cold enough to let it damage anything and not make the road slick. So that's good. Um, there's been quite a few lives. Number one, I want to thank all the people that have been giving me shout outs here lately. Shannon, Nevada Trucking and Trails, he shared one of my videos, and then Wheelburner Express, and everybody else that promotes me and other channels. I appreciate you guys. Um, I'm not the brightest candle, but if I'm helping you, that's cool. That's good. There she is. There's Shannon. So market was interesting yesterday. One of the things on Nevada's live feed yesterday is they were talking, Spectre got in there and was talking about the reefer, and I think that Nevada's going through what a lot of people new to the spot market are going through, on a down market, and it's common, right? I've dealt with it, and sometimes, there are days when I'm like, you know what, maybe I should just, call it a wrap, you know. Um, we all have those days. It's different to have. It's good to have an exit strategy, but at the same time, you don't want that exit strategy to be the only thing you're focused on. Where you give up the fight. There's retreat to come. There's a punting, right? In football, you punt. When you can't get things down in 4 downs, right? So it's kind of the same principle, and you got to do what's best for you. If that's pivoting to a different platform, or what I look at this kind of market as a learning experience. That's when you learn that maybe some of the luxuries that you enjoy aren't worth it, or that's where you learn that, well, financing could have been better, or you learn that you're not quite. Oh, hold on a second, guys. All right, I'm back. Sorry about that. I was a broker calling. Tell you what, this one brokerage, I won't say who it is, but they've been pretty aggressive about trying to get my business. I've got 2 or 3 of their guys on me at all times, and I think I've done one of their loads. They just either can't make the money work or they just don't have the freight in the spots that I'm at. So, anyways, we were talking about Nevada Trucking and Trails, who shared my video yesterday, which is cool. Thanks for everybody who shared it. But anyways, they were talking about reefer, and one of the unique perspectives I have with the dispatch service is that I'm able to see what different platforms are doing, and so it's my job and my personal duty to keep an eye on all the different platforms and what they're doing, so I don't just focus on van. I don't just focus on reefer. I'm focusing on 3 different platforms, and so it's what I've learned through this experience. Even if I lose all my guys and I got to get back on the road full time, I've learned a lot about myself. I've learned a lot about the broker relationships. I've learned a lot about what platforms work where, and I would have probably no problem getting into a reefer truck or a trailer. Unfortunately, it's a pricey game. There was a reefer I was looking at last year that I was this close to getting, but I didn't want to reduce any of my liquid capital. And looking back, it was probably the smart move, because of what I've seen that trailer go through. So we live and learn, and that's all my channel is about, is living and learning, right? So, but yeah, it's been a hectic morning. So we'll because it all started last night. It got kind of hectic, so it's interesting. Let's do some shout outs, right? Because people love hearing their names. Big Houston, what's up? How you doing? Red Diesel, morning. Sam I am, morning. Pam is in the house. Nomadic Brit, Steve chat, what's up? Blessings of a lucrative and safe travel, says Sterling. Well, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Sterling. Jose, good morning. Also, check out Sterling's channel. He goes live. Um, he used I did a guitar jam the other night, and he used something. I just off the fly just came up with something for his water pump, and he used it. He actually used it in this video. Jose, good morning. And look, Sterling's got some good editing skills. So Jose, what's up? Scott Isro Logistics, morning, sir. Dwayne, yes, I agree. Snow sucks. I like your avatar there. Trucker Carlson, good morning. Sat in a cold Chicago, getting loaded from a tanker rail car. Ugh, that sounds fun. What a way to wake up. I'll be listening in the background. Got to get the kids to school. Good deal. Mr. Sage is in the house. Gary Bates. Big Dog Trucker 68. Good morning, everyone. Back in Johnsontown, New York. Save money, live better. There you go. Big Dog 68. Morning, sir. Long time no see. Rick, what's good, dude? Well, life is good, right? Shannon's not in the house. She's in the truck. Good morning. Stuart, what's up? Nomadic Brit. Don Shonger, hello. Everybody's saying hi to each other. That Ninja, what's up? Mr. Charles, Chucky. TBT, what's up? Let's see. Man, what is going on? I was bidding Coyote going Wisconsin to Michigan's 350 miles. Coyote. I bid an extra $50. They lower original offer. I bid the same offer they originally had, and then they lowered again. Okay, so here's what's going on with red diesel. Okay, I too experience the same thing. So I get on my keyboard warrior styles, like, to our, our coyote rep, right? I was, I was, I was cordial. I was nice, and so our dude calls me. And he goes, "Hey man, hey Steve. So here's what's going on. When we're not in the office, it's automatically going to go to increments of $50. The computer does either $50 or $100. I forget what the settings at. And so if the offer is like 21.75 and you say 23, it's going to go down to 21.50. So there's not much we can do about that, you know. And then a lot of times, if your bid is too high, they'll just shut off the bidding for you on that particular load. I've actually had that happen. So if you sit there and like on a $2,200 load and you put $5,000, boom, now you can't even bid on it. They're like, that's the digital equivalent to hanging up on you. Now, but that $50 increment. So I was like, well, you should probably explain that to the drivers, because, and I told them, I said, this is a perspective of a driver. You're sitting there in your truck, empty at a truck stop. You finally see a load that you want. You're trying to get a fair rate, which your guys' rates are down. I told them this. And I get it, market conditions and all that. But you got to realize from the driver standpoint that a lot of them are having a hard time right now. And so when the computer that's supposed to be smart bounces back with a rate that's lower than the one that you originally had, that looks like punishment. That doesn't sit well with the driver. Yeah, I know, but we try to send out these emails, because talking to each individual, carrier is going to be difficult. Blah blah. I mean, I get it, but you got to realize why this makes people angry, and so that's why that happens. Red diesel. That's all computer generated. So my recommendation is, if you're trying to book something before they go in their office, that's going to happen. So what I do is, if you're not desperate for that load, or the money is far from coming up, then because sometimes that computer is set to, okay, on this load, if someone offers X amount, take it. And but if there's a load that I really want, I will call my Coyote guy and say, hey man, can we cut the BS and do this? And 9 times out of 10, I usually get it. So, but yeah, and Convoy will do the same thing. Convoy, you can usually, and sometimes they'll call you. Same thing with JB Hunt. Uber's the only one that's kind of a pain in the butt to call to try to get them up on something. I mean, you can. So if you've been a carrier and you've got a good history with Uber, they should have given you a carrier rep. I get an email every morning from our carrier rep from Uber, and I will call if there's a load that is perfect except for the rate. So that's what's going on there. Still on I-80 eastbound. It's a tag cold, by the way, out here in Wyoming. There's a point where I think it's in Nebraska somewhere that, if you're going westbound, the GPS will literally say, in 638 miles, turn left. I think it's kind of wild out there. Tyrannus, what's up? Britt, I should be by next week. Let's see, everybody's talking to each other. There's a bunch of crap, Red Diesel, what they're doing. But that's what's going on. Coyotes aren't known for their ethics. That's not true, Don. I've one time there was a load coming out of Springfield. I knew the customer, and it was going to Jacksonville, Florida. And I put this ridiculous rate. It was like over $4 a mile. And your offer has been accepted. I'm like, holy moly. And so the only thing that made me kind of hesitate on that load, besides the Florida part, but Jacksonville's not too bad, is the weight, right? It said it was 44,000 pounds or something like that. What I learned later, that was a generic weight. I think my load weighed about 10,000 pounds. Now, ironically, it's a good thing I made a good coin on that load, because that's when my fuel pump went out on my truck, right before I made delivery. So, but every now and then you can get them up, just like anybody else. They have their loads that they use AI pricing on, and then they have their loads that need to be moved because someone dropped the ball somewhere somehow. So they're just like any other broker. Clyde, what's up? Pigtail, good morning. They normally go up a bit from my experience, not just lower original offer. Yeah. Well, sometimes. So it's depend on where your county rep is. There's no one in the office just yet. Yeah, the water pump video Sterling did was very cool and a great sound check as always. Well, if I knew he was gonna, if I had known he was gonna use it, I would have played a little bit cleaner. I was just kind of messing around. 85 degrees here in West Palm Beach. Nice. Is Snorelord going to add tanker to Likes Trucking? Tankers usually don't do well in the spot market. I know one carrier here in Springfield that does a lot of brokered tank freight, but I generally don't. There's really not much in the form of tanker, because most companies that want their tanker stuff moved, they want companies that are built and designed around that. They don't want just Joe Schmo that went out and bought a tanker and a truck to haul their stuff. And then you got to deal with tank washouts. You can't sit there and, like, one day you do a chemical additive and then another day you're doing cheese, or something like that, or milk. So that's usually pretty specialized. Jason, what's up? Wow, so they are forcing you to click and go. Shannon, that's the thing. Coyotes started doing that about 4 years ago. We had a different Coyote rep, and I noticed that's what was going on. And he wouldn't tell me officially, but he all but said that if you bid too high or there's too much back and forth, they'll just take away the ability to bid. And so when I called him to try to get the rate I wanted, he said, "Well, I can only, I think it was a load I was trying to get 1,400 for." He goes, "Well, we can, I can offer you 900." I said, "Well, the app's going to offer me 1,200." And he's like, "Well, then you better take it off the app." And so when I went to one of the truck shows, I believe it was GATS, I told Coyote that wasn't cool, and I told C.H. Robinson, "You guys better not do that." And guess what? C.H. Robinson is starting to do that as well. I call my guy, and he's like, "Yeah, what's the app saying? 1160." He's like, "Yeah, I could do 1100, but if you want to click the book it now, and he knows I'm sensitive to that, so he tries not to put me in that position. So there's certain loads that have to be that way and certain loads that aren't. So did the layoffs at CH have anything to do with the recent lawsuit they lost? I have no idea. Who knows? Did you guys see that Amazon just laid off or plan on laying off 10,000 people? Yeah, you're exactly right. It was before office hours. I have dedicated lane paying well going to Wisconsin, and with freight so thin, I was scared it might disappear. I have a rep. There you go. Thoughts on the recent trucker protest? What happened? 4 trucks? I have no idea. They must have been desperate. Every time lately I've tried, my rep called and said, "I'll see what I can do." Never heard from her again. Sometimes just having a good rep, too. We've had the guy that we had when I first came to Like Trucking. He was awesome. And one day he emailed me and goes, "Hey, man, that was a good video, Snorelord." I'm like, "Oh, hey, how'd you know I had a YouTube channel?" So that's why I don't do broker bashing on here, because you never know who's watching. Not only that, but it reflects bad on the company. I remember back in the Travel Loco days, there were people at Travel Loco that were bashing brokers by name, even put them on blast live, and that kind of trashed a lot of Loco's rep at that time. I've had a few drivers that were over there that said that they had trouble booking loads because of all that mess. So, you got to be careful with this YouTube platform. All right, I'm back. Shannon says, hit the like, please. Quit yelling, Shannon. Jeez, it's morning. Max Force, hello. Anthony, what's up? What's up, Mr. T? Go to delivery this morning and doc that gave me is taken. Gotta love that, right? Gotta love that. Especially it's a big facility. All right, put in door 483. Okay. So you drive 3 miles to the door and there's a truck in there or a drop trailer in there. I love that. That's awesome. So you got a choice. You can drive around back to the office, or you can try to get the yard dog with the radio, say, hey man, what's up with this? Then he usually goes, I'll move it. You gotta give me a minute. That kind of thing. So it's a great way to start work, right? At work, slow at the moment. Where are you working at these days, Anthony? DL Mallory morning. What's up? So, all right, let's do some. You guys want to see some low board crap? Excuse me. All right, let's see if we can get this up here. There is something I do want to show you guys. I gotta wait. Yeah, I think CDN has allowed me to do this before. So let me get this up. Make sure the email doesn't pop up here. Jockey at Kimberly Clark. Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Says Shannon. All right, let's see. Where is this? Okay. All right, I got to be super careful here. So I don't want to reveal my sources. This is an email I get every Monday or Tuesday. And this is a gauge of the market, right? Not just van, but all of them. And there are multiple sources that create these numbers. Now, whether you believe these numbers or not, that's entirely up to you. But these numbers come from somewhere, usually from TMS software. It comes from multiple load boards, not just, one. And I find that I read this data and I go, yeah, that makes sense now. Because there's a lot about this industry I do not understand. Okay. So I'm the willingness to learn, to put my ego aside is important. Because the minute I go, you can't teach me anything, it's a wrap. And Diesel Bro, I'll get to your comment here in a second. All right. Anyways, very loose. You have loose, neutral, tight, very tight. Now, very tight means that it's pick our price. We rule the world. That's what it was last year. Tight is you're going to do pretty good. Neutral, not the best, but not the worst. And then loose means you're going to start struggling. And then very loose means you better have your act together. That's as simple as that. Okay. National truckload index price inclusive of fuel remained unchanged at $2.56 a mile. That's including fuel surcharge. National truckload index line haul rate, which removes fuel, decreased by 1 cent to $1.73 a mile. Contract rates, which are base line haul rates like the NTIL, remain unchanged at $2.69. So basically what that means is that if you're under contract, you're probably doing pretty good. Capacity trends. The outbound tender reject, which measures relative capacity in the market, fell to 4.1%. The van outbound tender reject index plummeted to 3.85%. The flatbed outbound tender reject rose to 16.3%. 0.36%. And the reefer outbound tender reject index dropped 5.66. So what that tells you right there is van's got the loosest capacity, followed by reefer, and then finally flatbed. Tender rejections are an indicator of trucking capacity conditions. Declining numbers indicate carriers are losing pricing power, while increasing numbers indicate carriers are gaining pricing power. Now, so the chicken and the egg question comes up here. Does this information create the trend, or does the trend create the information? I believe it's the latter, because it's a supply and demand. Now, a lot of people will argue with me. A lot of people will disregard these numbers simply because their little bubble is doing well. Now, does that mean that I'm going to go out and I can't get above $1.73? That's that's irrelevant. So if something's wrong with your car, you hear a noise, you want to know why. What's making that noise? And then you get to the root of the problem. So when you look at all these tools and this data, it could help you. Like, okay, well, I wonder what areas where the capacity is not as loose. And that's when you discover states like Wisconsin, Missouri, Michigan, all that kind of thing. And so, and it's nice to keep an eye on those things. But let's say you pick a load to California, and then it flips mid-trip. Suddenly you find yourself struggling to come out, and you have no idea why. But then you open up a tool and realize, oh wow, the load ratio count just flipped. That's why. And so now you know that the next time you don't go out there. Or if you go out there, have a plan. Maybe you don't have a choice. You have to go out there. So you have to have a plan in place. You have to be prepared. Here's another analogy. You can look at your phone and see what the weather is. You can watch the weather channel or the Weather Nation in the morning to see what's going on. Or you just go outside and go, it's raining. It's kind of chilly. I'm going to put a jacket on. I do all three. I'll check my phone, the temperature. Then I'll look at the forecast real quick. Meanwhile, I've watched the Weather Nation all morning, and then I'll actually go outside to see what it really feels like. And that's essentially how I approach everything. Look at the data, look at the quick data, and actually feel what it's doing outside. Especially here off of I-44, we've been known to have 6 inches of snow north of I-44 and then rain south of I-44, and we're literally on the line. So that's where, and so people that don't work the spot market, they probably see this as, wow, you got to pay attention to all that. Man, that seems like a lot of work. That seems like a lot of hassle. When do you sleep? And for me, it's kind of like, it comes naturally because I love doing this. Is it a pain in the butt? Yeah. But the most stressful part of my day is when I've got 3 trucks empty at the same time because of mishaps that were out of our control. And now we've got to work on something. But through established relationships, I can usually recover from that pretty quickly. And my experience, I've been trucking since 2008. My experience is a big part of that, of why I look at this data. And it's not a big deal to me as far as like trying to understand it. And so this is part, if you want to master the spot market game, I'm not saying you have to pay attention to this kind of stuff, but it's nice to be able to pay attention to this stuff. As long as the data doesn't freeze you, as long as the data doesn't make you like, well, I'm not even going to do that. It helps you formulate a plan. The Rail Union Brotherhood of Maintenance of Way Employee Division has pushed back its date for potential strike from November 19th to December 4th, saying that the date change will enable the railroads to come up with their best offer without threat of a looming walkout. In other words, they're saying we'll give you some more time. Now, in October, the Logistics Manager Index unsurprisingly reported that transportation capacity is loosening at the quickest pace in the survey's history, falling 3.9% points. This latest reading puts the index not only below all-time average of 64.9, but also right in line with 2019's average of 57.5. This is the market correcting. Container trade statistics reported a 25% year-on-year drop in trans-Pacific volumes and 9% drop in global volumes in September. This is a leading sign that a significant correction of inventories occurring, coupled with some slight weakening of demand. Trucker brokerage C.H. Robinson laid off 650 employees last week. The move comes after reporting weaker than expected third quarter results and strongly hinted at impending labor cost reductions to combat the impact of slowing demand and increased costs. So whoever asked about C.H. Robinson earlier, that's what it was. And I'll get to your comment too, Sterling. Just give me a second. So when I look at these charts, now, mind you, I don't study these charts. Okay, I don't sit there and stare at them and with the low board in front of me and making phone calls. I don't do that. But what I do, what I will do, I almost said do, but that would have been dumb. Is I look at these patterns. Doink, doink, doink. That is the spot market, people. This is the pendulum swinging. And it tells you what each graph stands for. The takeaway on this graph is that carriers in all modes are turning down fewer loads at contracted rates, which means the market continues to loosen. Right? There's a little bit of an uptick there. And then, of course, each line, represents a different year. And that's the thing. This is multiple years, and look what all of them do. Except this was 2020, going up, and 21 going up, and then drop, and then now it's like, so it went from the highest right here to the low. Now we're not quite here yet, but we're heading there, right? Look at retail inventories. That's why you had all these new warehouses being built. Look at that. Stockpiles at retailers exceed 550 billion this year. The takeaway from this graph is that retailers ordered extra inventory earlier in the year, but consumer demand dwindled, leaving retailers with excess goods in stock. That's why Van looks like it does. The inspector made the point in Nevada's video yesterday. That's why he switched to reefer. New export orders index. Look at that. Germany is this color. China and the world is down here. USA is up a little bit. The takeaway from this graph below is that factories around the world are reporting a decline in new orders from overseas buyers. So it's not just us, it's the whole world kind of feeling this, right? There's your global container freight index. We won't get into that. But here's the reefer market conditions. Red is good. Yellow is good. Green, okay. Light blue is okay. Dark blue is a no-go. Look at Arizona. Now in the Dallas area, you're doing okay still. Probably produce, avocados or whatever. Oh, wait. Avocados, they can't go in a van, can they? That was dumb. So I'm not sure what this is about, other than maybe some Mexican imports, just like Laredo here. Then there's your flatbed. A little bit more blues here and there. Of course, southeast always on fire. Right there. This area's doing good, but then you got to deal with the weather if you bounce back and forth like that. But look at van, guys. There's your van market. Even the hottest states are barely like a shade hotter. Houston is hot. This area, I want to say northern Georgia is hot. And then the Memphis market looks really good right now. And then, of course, Christmas trees are shipping now, guys. I've been getting a lot of calls from brokers wanting these trees moved, multi-stop. Um, so it just depends if you want to do the multi-stop and deal with the mess in your trailer. I don't know how messy the trailer gets. If you have wood walls, I do not recommend Christmas tree loads. But if you have smoothbore walls like a reefer does, then you might do pretty good with that. Shannon, so when it says loosening, that means so a tight market, a tight capacity is there's more loads than trucks. So they call it tight, right? Because, if you got 20 loads and there's like 3 trucks, they're fighting for you. That's tight. Loose means there's 20 trucks for one load, or a similar ratio. And that's what that means. That's where that term comes from. All right, let me go up here. I'm about 10 minutes behind on comments. I think it's time to get rid of the corrupted OIDA, start a new organization. Thoughts? There's a couple of new organizations out there. I don't know what they are off the top of my head, Diesel Bro, but I don't have an opinion one way or another, because I mean, I do know of people. Well, I do know of 2 people that worked at OIDA that don't work there now. One of them was a guy back from my band days. Our bands jammed together at one point, and I think they're just like any other organization. So I mean, that's you know, it's. I don't think our voice will ever be heard. So there's that. Wait, what? I don't know everything. I stayed at a Holiday Inn Express. I've been seeing a heck of a lot more live loads here lately. Our drop air for carriers has been a bit more bare for the past couple of weeks. That's interesting. Sterling says, I want to see if my decision to park the truck was smart. 53-foot Reno to anywhere if you can, kind sir. 53 reefer. Let's take a look here. All right. New search. Reno. Actually looked at a load yesterday that was going to Nevada. I was like, no, don't do that. All right, so we got 16th, 17th, 18th, 3 days. Search. 29 loads for 3 days. 150-mile radius. All right, so what's the highest rate? So we'll put that on the highest rate, see what they're doing. So we got 4,500 to go to Atlanta out of Lathrop, California. Everything's coming out of Cali. Here's Reno to El Paso. One bad market to not another bad market. Call, text. Yeah, I'll do that. Whatever. Who's the brokerage on this? High Standard Freight. That's an interesting name. See what their credit looks like. They're not approved with Thunder Funding, but they got a 90 on trans credit. So I don't know. Buyer beware on that one. I would think. Um, Looks like your short haul is the best paying rate per mile. So not a lot of posted rates on this one, but let's see. Let's look at Modesto, California to Rochelle, Illinois. Consumer goods. Reefer averages $1.55. Yeah, that's a downward trend right there. So it just depends what the California market's doing that week. So that's a big part of it. But there's only one load actually coming out of Nevada. That's McCarran. There are a lot of Karens there. And all it does is go to California. So you take a short hop from there to Cali, and then from Cali go wherever you want. And depending on the market, that would depend on what's going on how you're going to get out. You guys gonna have to deal with my cat. He's got a big gash on his face and can't let him out, so he's kind of pissed about it. Then the other one has been peeing on everything. So I've got one cat that has to stay out. Oh, hold on. By the way, don't let Callie in if you see her. Anyways, so my days of door opening for cats is at a nil, even though the one's going to be noisy about it. So that's what's going on. A lot of these loads are 8 hours old. So let's go by age. Let's go by age of the posting. There's only a few that are minutes old. Now I have a question for you guys. Do you guys call on loads that are more than 2 or 3 or 4 hours old? Wet cat alert. Pale Rider, what's up? Bill, what's up? I saw you. Shane was live like for 16 hours yesterday. And I saw Bill was on there. Those are holiday drops. Sage is referring to the charts. Morning, Steve. Loads are looking yummy. I'm letting this year of minimizing my taxable contributions and spending play out like a financial fasting. There you go. Well, who did they really think was going to show up for that convoy when fuel in Pennsylvania is what, like $6.50 a gallon? Who could afford to Galavan right now? That's a big argument that a lot of people made when the convoy went through Springfield here off of 44. A lot of the comments in the news section about the convoy it was just horrible. Like nobody is the protests, at least here in America, are not changing people's minds about things. When they see chromed out, really nice trucks, and fuel is really high, to talk about how owner operators are not getting a fair shake, people don't believe that. That's kind of like that guy that's approached you at the fuel stop that's wearing a gold chain. He drives up in a Dodge Challenger. He's got the latest greatest iPhone, and he asks you for money. That's kind of what that looks like to a lot of people. Those are not my words. That's just what I've seen from the public perception. And of course, since I'm a truck driver, a lot of people are like, well, they don't talk to me about that. So I just read the comments on the news sections that talk about these convoys. I agree, Sterling. I think if you lived in a different area, I think your outlook on markets would be a little bit different. It's definitely a challenge out west. Sometimes they do call older postal load, but not typically. It just depends, right? And there was a load that I called. It was 24 hours old, and lo and behold, they had it. So, but I tend to go with newest, especially if you want to find that load that someone fell off that they're paying a little bit of money on. Yeah, it depends on how bad the market is and how desperate you are on that postings, right? We need more people to go live from 2 to 7. Well, Shannon can fill that gap. Company driver been trying to get out since Sunday. Finally on a load, only 475 miles. Take what I can get. Wow. So Truman, do you choose your own loads as a company driver, or is that just what your company's struggling with? And that's the thing. If you're at a company position that's spot market based only, you're probably having a really hard time. Um, and if you are at a spot market company but as a company driver, I hope that you're getting mileage pay, because that's about where the math needs to be. Eddie, what's up? How are you doing? Adco, yo boss. So we can't get a load under 1,500 miles. So what I've noticed is a lot of long haul is in order, right? Can you guys hear the cat? Long haul seems to be the flavor of the month right now, because the carriers are busy servicing their contracts, which a lot of, like, if you look at JB Hunt, Schneider, Werner, Swift, those companies don't do a whole lot of coast to coast. They're primarily working a short, because like JB Hunt, for example, and Shannon, you can probably, tell me I'm full of it, or see if I'm right a little bit. But JB Hunt changed their model quite a few years ago, to get rid of the long haul freight. So what they did is all their long haul freight goes on the rail. So their California to Pennsylvania goes on a rail. It's cheaper, number one, and it's reserved for things that there's no time frame to get it there. And then by doing that and only doing short runs, now they can tell their company drivers, hey, do you want to work Monday through Friday, or Tuesday through Saturday, or Sunday through Thursday, that kind of thing, to give the resemblance of a normal work week. 2 days off, regardless of if you're loaded or empty. You drop the trailer at the yard, you go home. So they hire around these hubs, these rail hubs, and you never go beyond a 300 or 400 mile radius. That way, if you got to go home, 300 miles, no problem. And they've structured everything around that. And so what happens is JB Hunt goes, hey, this is a long haul run that needs to be done. Can't just go on the rail. So we'll get it as cheap as possible. We'll put it on the spot market. And there you go. Schneider does the same thing. If you're looking at a load board, how many loads are Schneider, right? So I don't think I hardly ever see a Werner load on the spot market. In Swift and Knight, back when rates were in our favor, there was a lot of Swift Knight loads on the broker boards, but now I don't even see one. And that's why that's by design. And so so a lot of times I'm looking at a load board and everything's going to California, Washington, Oregon, New Hampshire, Maine, Miami, or North Dakota, all the places that the big carriers don't want to deal with, because it costs more per mile to run those loads. And then all your local carriers snagged up all that short haul stuff. Hey, I've got 20 trucks. Guys want to stay home. They don't want to go out to Washington and back. So we'll cover these pallet loads for you. We'll cover these shuttle loads for you. I get emails quite often Um, for shorties. And all my short stuff has disappeared off this low board in locally for me. It's one of the reasons why I haven't run my truck. So there's a whole different bunch of dynamics going on. And so if you love running long haul, like what Shannon dealt with last week, if you love running long haul and you hate low boards, go long haul. Now, mind you, you're going to put miles on your truck. You're going to burn a lot in fuel. You're going to have to deal with bad weather and all that stuff. But if you go long haul, you're on a low board maybe once a week, maybe not even at all. If you got a backhaul right away from the same broker that you just pulled that load, but that's what's paying. And you got Christmas trees coming out of the Northwest. You've got Christmas trees coming out of Michigan that need to go all points. And there's no rhyme or reason. You would think that you would want to order all your Christmas trees from Oregon if you're going down to Phoenix, but Phoenix might order Christmas trees from the Northeast or from Michigan. So, also, New York City was talking about handing out huge fines and impounding trucks. We all know the city situation right now with money and stuff. So, right? Yep. Can you hear the cat? Must suck to be. Him. Yep. Cool trucking just booked. Good deal. Been seeing nothing going into Salt Lake the last few days. I've noticed that as well. Uh, no, hearing the cat does not bother me. Good. See, Shannon just confirmed. Now, how do I know that? Because I know people that worked and still work there. So, and the majority of them are pretty good with it. So, I can hear the YouTube cat. Don't choose loads, can turn it down. Mostly contracted. Okay, don't choose loads, can turn it down. Mostly contracted auto freight parts and cores to parts distribution warehouses. So a lot of your job is dependent on the automotive industry. So I do a mix of loads, which allows me to perpetually recap. There you go. Hot dang, I just got a load from Iowa to Columbia for 775. Tomorrow's a full day, 750. Kirksville to Columbia, followed by this one. Good deal. 500 tractors, 2,000 trailers in business since 78. So you guys are in pretty good shape, right? That's a lot of trailers too. So you must have a lot of drop and hook, if not 100% drop and hook. Haven't seen any mega carriers really on low boards. No PGT, Mercer, no Knight, Swift, etc. Exactly, and that's because they're covering their stuff. And you've got carriers like Crete boasting that you can make $100,000 as a company driver. Look at Walmart; they're paying 126 now annually. These mega carriers, they bid on those loads that were too expensive in the spot market, took them off the spot market, then they went on a hiring spree from you know owner operators leaving the market. That's how it works. That's the natural order of things. That's how it goes every single time the market turns down. Shipper pulled the load I had booked back home for Thanksgiving. It showed up minus 1,000 with convoy next day. If you read the convoy load info, usually it'll tell you what the other broker was that had it. Read the fine print so you can see the stuff that they're co-brokering. I get a lot of emails on short loads to move long hauls to be moved also, but when the loads are paying where you're going to make $200 to $300 in profit, it's not worth moving. Yeah, I agree with that. There's a lot of the short stuff has been soaked up because of fuel prices. That's the other thing. Because at one time it was profitable for me to do the super short stuff, but now it's not because of the fuel prices. busy morning this morning at the household. The long haul stuff pays less rate per mile, and but the rate per day can be decent, and that's what you have to, But so your fuel efficiency kicks in now. That's where your fuel efficiency can be a problem, especially in van. So need to go plug in your electric Peterbilt. Gotta love the cat. Come here, kitty. Come here. If I can get a hold of him, I'll show you guys the gaping wound he has. The vet said to keep it open, so we just have to put a wet. Now, my wife is so awesome. She literally has to put this wet rag on the cat for 10 minutes 3 times a day. Now, I don't know when the last time you tried to put a wet rag on a cat, but I will tell you that they are not pleased with that situation. So now, if she's lucky, she can get him all calm, and petting him and then put the rag on him. He's okay with that. But like when he's like this, ain't no, you can't even pick him up. He's like, So don't take it out of the cat. So, yeah, we got one cat that can't come in, and we got one cat that can't go out. So, LOL, I'm sure he loves it, right? Never a dull moment around here, and all of our animals are on medication. So, yay, pharmaceutical companies for what you do, damn monopolists. So, anywho, let's look at the load availability. By the way, 48065 for the 123 low board trial. You can try it cap free and 30 days for free. And if you don't like it, then tell them why, and they'll try to see what they can do. But it's $35 a month after that. If you're a broker, they allow you to post for free. Here's the reefer market. Very similar results to the blue maps that I showed you earlier. And if I was fancy and had multiple screens, I could like put them side by side. So there's your reefer market. Usually it's the same states. This doesn't really change a whole lot throughout the week. Do flatbed. There you go. There's flatbed. A little bit more orange and red in certain places. Oregon's lit up, so just like the other map showed, Oregon and Washington were lit up, but it still showed pretty decent in these areas. It's spotty though, right? So, and then if you look at step deck, let's look at that. Apply. There's step deck. Not much different. And I think a lot of that's because a lot of loads are advertised as step deck or flatbed, either one. Um, van. Let's look at van. There's van. California's doing pretty good, and I imagine it's because of the LA area. And then, look at Mississippi. Stick out like a sore thumb. I've got a truck going there. Lovely. But there's where you want to be. Oklahoma's red all the time, but I do pretty decent out of there. And that's just knowing your market. So this is not just like Florida. Florida's green. Not sure why. Probably because of all the intrastate. So that puts numbers pretty good. But this is based off of the 123 low board, not so not like the big ones, but the the data is about the same results as far as what states are hot, what states are not. Let's do power only for you people that couldn't get a trailer last year. There's your power only states. And that's when the Western kind of lights up a little bit. Why is that? So, when I see something's red, I want to know why, right? Now, the day that we're in trouble is when the van load board looks like this. But I mean, look at these numbers like Arizona, 67 loads, and there's one interstate, Phoenix to Glendale. Like, that's just a trailer movement. Let's take a look at that one. Is that a posted rate or is that average? That's a posted rate, $25.50 to move from Phoenix to Glendale. That's $318 a mile. Whoa, look at that. Pick true team required, multi-stop round trip, 1,400 miles total, 3x3 Arizona round trip. There you go. That's what that is. I get on YouTube and like, oh, I got a load paying me $318. No. That's usually the nature of power only. There you go. Salt Lake to Phoenix to Salt Lake. Posted rate $13.50, $1.89 a mile. So that's true, probably one direction. True team required, one by one. So it's obvious that 1776 Logistics, or if that guy is a concealed carry guy, is got a lot of this stuff. Here we go. Here's a Trailer Move LLC, Phoenix to San Antonio. No posted rate, 981 miles. Van swing door load out, 981 miles. So here's why they didn't put a rate on that. Because they're only going to give you like $50 for this. But depending on how long, but you're allowed to load it. And there's no telling what the time window is to be allowed to use it. Right? It could be 2 weeks. It needs to be in San Antonio by December 24th. So now you got that whole trailer from now until 24. How's the container business? Let's look. So let's X this out. X this out. I don't know if containers right there. Doink. We'll leave power only in there. Well, no, we'll take power only out for now, but there's your states for container. Obviously around the ports. But there's not a whole lot postings. Like, look at Texas. The entire state of Texas, there's only one load posted. Houston to Phoenix. Let's see what the rate is. There's not even like data available because there's no averages to go by. So this is where, honesty comes in. If you're a container only driver, 123 low board is probably not for you. Let's look at California. One. So yeah, there's not the best. Let's see if there's any averages for this one. Nope, no averages. So there's literally no data for this. For container. So yeah, there's your map for container. So I'll make that the screenshot. I'll make that the thumbnail. All that red. I know there's a good amount of rebuild supplies going into Florida right now, but still it doesn't pay anywhere near what it should. Well, maybe this is a dumb question, but does Carrier have access to that map or is it restricted to brokers? Or if so, is it included on the cheaper plan? For $35 a month, you can get all the tools that I'm showing you. This is not from a broker's perspective. This is my low board that I pay for. I get a discounted rate through Like Trucking, but this is this you so 48065, and you can also see all these things that I'm showing you. So yes, I do get a cut, but it's not much. And I think I've had like one person sign up or something. I don't know. I've not received anything yet. But regardless, um, yes, you have access to all this. This is not broker information. Now, the map from the email I showed, that was from a broker. But if you pay the big money for FreightWaves, or not FreightWaves, Sonar and or DAT, if you want to pay the big money, you get access to that as well. But that's big money. Our stuff's only $35 a month. So, which is a discounted rate if you use the code. So let's put that one up there so it doesn't look so bad. Cody, what's up? Florida Green, yeah, for $1.30 a mile, right? And this is just an availability map, not best rates map. That's the other thing. A lot of people, just because there's high volume in an area, doesn't mean that it equates to good rates, because the AI will force things down. This is a reflection of load availability. So if you go into Wisconsin and you have a choice of 500 loads versus if you go to North Dakota and you got a choice of 50 loads, you're more than likely going to find closer to the rate that you need with the higher volumes area. So you don't struggle as much. You might have to make 30 phone calls, but at least you have 30 phone calls to make. Whereas some places you call 10 loads and you either got a deadhead or you're SOL, or you got to take what they got. So, and Florida's a lot of Florida intrastate. We've got a driver that literally bounces from Florida to Georgia. He's one of Jeff's top earners. That's all he does. So it can be done. What's up, Bull? Tons of Amazon shipments from China to the West Coast. You got that for $35 a month. Yeah, you get this for $35 a month. You have to log into computer or browser to get the US map. Doesn't show on the mobile. Yes, that's true. Now, if you do a browser on your phone, I think it'll work, but you $1.89 mile for team, right? I'll make you uncomfortable. What's up, morning? ACO, you use my code. Good deal. Hope it works for you. And if not, then at least you tried. So the more skills you have, the more tools you have, the easier it is to navigate a market, whether it's good or bad. And so when you hear people like Jeff, DIY, Spectre, me, talk about the markets and stuff, we've been through this before. And are there situations that kind of make some things unprecedented? Yes. The high fuel is one of them. But if you remember back in 2009, fuel got close to $5 a gallon, and the rates were half of what they are now. And there's trucking companies that are still around from those days. So I mean, it's part of the process. Just like if you have a restaurant or a retail, when you own a restaurant, Monday and Tuesday are slow. Wednesday picks up. Thursday is better. Friday you're slammed. Saturday you're slammed. Sunday morning after church you're slammed. And then Sunday night you're dead. All businesses have fluctuations. And a lot of people came into the market not realizing the fluctuations, not realizing what they signed up for. Which is, which we all do that. I did that. I had a kind of rough idea that it would do that, but when I was at Landstar, I didn't anticipate that. I didn't anticipate downward trends. All I know is that there were drivers at Landstar that wouldn't run their trucks from Thanksgiving until Valentine's Day. I'm like, well, yeah, that must be nice. Take a whole winter off. But getting to that point was difficult, and I never did get up to that point. So, because I did not anticipate the market to drop, and so when January hit, I was like, oh, no wonder these guys take this time off. Now, Spectre made a comment about January and March has traditionally been well for him. And I will agree that halfway through excuse me, halfway through January, the first half, usually you can still do okay. And then March is when, if you're paying attention, that's when mulch, charcoal, all the springtime stuff starts shipping. All the stuff you see in the outdoor garden at your local Lowe's or Menards happen. Start filling up. So that material goes first. If you're van, now if you're reefer, it's a different. If it's flatbed, then that affects you a little bit. Jose says, "Yep, that's what I do. Temperature drops in Atlanta, and then I stay in Florida." I signed up about 3 months ago. Works great. Thank you, Agco. I appreciate that. I'm glad it's working out for you. 2008, I was running cattle, and every time I fueled up, it was $1,000 on my 379. But anyways, so January can be good, depending on where you're at, depending on what you're paying attention. So this January will be extremely interesting on how it's going to handle. Now you have the doom and gloomers that will say, "Oh, it's going to be a bloodbath in January." And there are people, but there are two types of people. There's a type that says, "Man, January, man, I'm else just call it a wrap." And then you have the other half that are saying, "I can't wait for the fire sales. I'm going to buy up trucks and trailers. So when the next upward trend happens, I will be ready with equipment. If I can buy 10 trailers at once, I can go into one of these shippers and say, hey, we got you. But if you're trying to negotiate a dedicated contract rate right now, good luck." Because eventually, as contract rates go down, it'll be cheaper for some of these places to put it on the spot market. Timo, what's up? January stores restock, March people get taxes back. There you go. Wish you would have went hunting. You could have taken on that deer in Missouri. Oh man, that sucks, Gary. Where'd you hit it at? Yeah, we also had a driver. I've had one driver have two close calls here in Missouri. I believe. I think it was Missouri. At least one of them was. I put that on a short. I'm so glad I'm a company driver in the market now with fuel prices. Yeah. I never really remember having a bad problem during the winter running flatbed. You know, the rates would drop a bit, but never got so slow as we're taking off. Snorelord just needs the introspection only sitting in a tree stand can bring. Yes, that is true. Although I think this year might be completely different. Well, it'll be interesting to watch. You know, and then if WA war happens, that will definitely change the dynamics of everything. So just west of St. Louis. Luckily, only took out my fender turn signal. Well, that's good. Glad there wasn't major damage. I'm assuming you hit the road. Ah, T-Bone, you're funny. Funny guy. Yep. And then there's people that collect the heads to test them for that chronic wasting disease. It's funny that there's a crew that will go out and they won't just take the whole deer, they'll just take the head and then they go get the carcass later. So, and there are people like, "Oh, look, I got me a 12-point buck," and they just chop the head off a deer that was hit in the road. In the road, as T-Bone called it. I thought I was going to go hunting this weekend, but I guess I was just informed that ain't going to happen either. So, um, my son's birthday is Wednesday and Thursday, which was, well, it's not both days, but Wednesday and Thursday is when he's taking off for his 21st birthday. So I definitely not going to hunt during that. So my hunting season is over unless I magically get an AR pistol to go out during alternative season. So, anyways, guys, enough about that. 48065 is the code if you want to check out the 123 low board. One of these days, I'll have to figure out how to get my phone onto the screen so I can show you what it looks like with the app. But Gary says, I was impressed. This old 579 took it like a champ at 65. Well, I'm glad there wasn't more serious damage, Gary. That's the last thing anybody needs right now is to be down. We have several trucks down due to repairs, deer, truck stop incidents. I mean, it's a big part of this year, and November has always been a turbulent month in my household, and this year is proving no different. A lot of things going on here at home, to the point that if I wanted to go back out in the truck, I probably couldn't. There's a few things that we're going through right now. So, anyways, enough about that, guys. Thanks for watching. I appreciate every single person that's shared this video. I appreciate the people that come in. We got up to 70 people, I believe, so that's pretty cool. Used to be I can only get 20 or 30. I got made fun of for. Now I'm up to 62, 72, 75. So I appreciate everybody. And my email's in the description. If you need help with something, I can help out. I may not get to that email like really quick, but that's the one I check the least, and I have 15 different emails. One more comment. That's initially what got me into muzzle loading. It really opens up the hunting season. Yeah, and bow too, right? Bow's got but I'm the guy who would probably shoot himself in the leg with an arrow or something if I was trying bow hunting. But anyways, guys, thanks for watching. I appreciate every single one of you. Be sure to check out my other videos. Hit the thumbs up. If you don't like this video, hit the thumbs down twice, please. And what was the other thing I was going to say? I just had a brain fart. Can you mirror the phone screen to the monitor screen? Probably, but that's technical stuff. Gosh, TBT, I'm not awesome or nothing. Jeez. I could probably do a screen record and then put it on and put it on as a file and play that file as we're on the StreamYard. I could probably do that. I'd probably figure out that one. Yep, bow or crossbow. I don't have either. So I know my wife's got a practice bow, but I don't think I would hunt deer with it. Deer would just look at me funny and like, what the hell was that? Run off. Yeah, I'm getting tired of getting hit and backed into at truck stops. I guess a lot of those guys are probably out of the market now. Not yet. They're getting there. Russell, what's up? You're late. So, all right, guys, thanks for watching. I try to go live Monday, Wednesday, Friday, if not every day in the morning about 7 a.m. Sometimes I'm at 6:30, sometimes I'm at 8. But anyways, hey, thank you. Thank you again. So with that being said, strength for today, hope for tomorrow. Peace.